Continuing conversation with the new Chief of Police of Long Beach, Jim McDonnell. Jim, let's talk about gangs. We've had a systemic gang problem in Long Beach, as many other cities do. LA, certainly, you're familiar with it there. We have a population of about 500,000, and we have 5,000 gang members in town, and it's been that way for a long time, and there are tragic shootings that we all read about. And what's your philosophy approaching the gang problem?
Well, I think that we've tried in the past to look at law enforcement and the enforcement posture as being the answer to gangs, and that's not and never will be the solution. I think we have to look at kids, and that's what most of our gang members are, and see where do we go off track as a society, and how do we allow kids to go down that path where they end up shooting themselves and shooting each other. I think that it goes back to having a more comprehensive approach to the way we look at the problem. It can't be just enforcement. It has to be education, prevention, intervention for those kids that are going down the wrong path. We need the enforcement piece, and that piece needs to be strong and sure. But then we also need on the back end the reintegration piece, because the reality is when we put people in jail, they don't stay there forever. We need a strategy for when they come back to the neighborhood that they left, how they'll be more successful this time than they were when they got put away before.
And how do we do that? Because gangs obviously perform a socially, not in the sense of pro-social, but they fulfill a need for the gang member. It gives him or her prestige. A sense of belonging, prestige, that is absent outside of the gang.
Right.
How do we find, and a lot of them are from broken homes or single-parent homes. So how do we, and I agree with your philosophy entirely, but how do we find a substitute to fill that need without going to a gang, to a sense of belonging, a sense of pride?
Right. I think you're right on the money. I think that that's where it's so critical that we put in place as a city mechanisms to ensure that kids have other ways to be able to get prestige, to get recognition, to get attention that they crave. And I look at when you have a kid in the second or third grade and they start to fall behind in school, it's predictable what the outcome down the road is going to be. They're probably not going to catch up. They probably don't have a support mechanism at home to be able to help them be successful. They're kind of out there on their own, trying to do it on their own. If we can work with the schools, work with Cal State Long Beach City College, to be able to give students credit for helping younger kids, mentor them, and with homework assistance, to get them back on track in that hours between 3 and 8 in a safe environment, so that they then have alternatives. They see school as a potential for success for them rather than being something that each day they fall further and further behind. I think if we can do those kind of things on the front end, and I think by working with the schools, we have the ability to get capable people teaching our kids the right way.
I'm told by psychologists that it's very important, particularly from a kid with a broken home that doesn't have the reinforcement of parents that some of us were blessed with having, that you can still make it work if you find one person, just one person, to really believe in that kid.
Yeah. You know what? It's the things that don't cost a dime that are sometimes the most valuable. And I often talk to police officers about the importance of them taking the time to stop and shake a kid's hand and say, "How you doing today? How's things going?" Because that might be the only person that shakes that kid's hand in the month or the next 6 months or in a year. And if more of us, I think, in society did that and took an interest in kids in the neighborhood and kids we come across, again, it doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple of seconds of your time, but it may make all the difference in that kid's life.
If we could find a way through the school system or through the universities or just through community groups to get volunteers to adopt, mentor on a one-on-one basis,
it would make all the difference in the world. If you look at the programs like Big Sisters, Big Brothers, and those where on occasion the person will meet up with the young person and take them to a ball game or something. Those are things that are, I think, fulfilling to the person who's doing them, but for the kid, it's priceless.
Turning back to suppression for a moment, I understand that the prosecutor's office has been quite aggressive with gang injunctions, and that this is a tool in the arsenal that really works.
It's relatively new here in Long Beach, but it's something that's been done in other parts. It was started in LA, and it's been replicated around the country and in Canada. And I look at the results we've had in LA with it, tremendous results, to be able to try and prevent and keep gang members from hanging out with each other. Participating in activities is going to do nothing but get them in trouble. It's a civil remedy, but it's one that has been successful for us, and we look to try and do as well as we can here in Long Beach using that tool, but it's been a real good one.
And as I understand it, legally, it gives a police officer the right to go over to a person who's been served with a gang injunction, who he then sees loitering on the street, and you don't need probable cause. If you have been served with the injunction, police officer can go over, ask a few questions, and then if they find a gun or drugs or something, the arrest can be made without any problem of probable cause.
Well, you can actually make the arrest for violation of the court order if they're doing something that's precluded by the order they were served with. So it may be hanging with other gang members, it may be hanging at a certain location, it may be participating in other kinds of activities, but it's a tool, and it's just one tool. It's not the last and final the way to do business, but it's a tool among many that has been effective elsewhere.
Finally, is it true that gang members, after being served, tend to move out of the community?
We've seen that a lot, where if they don't move out of the community, they certainly don't spend their free time hanging around the community where they're going to be receiving the attention of the police. They'll go somewhere else, and by doing that, you displace the gang, hopefully disperse it so they're not in a position to be able to do things together. And for the people who are involved in the gang, it gives them an out not to have to hang in the neighborhood where they're going to get in trouble.
So is this something that you would pursue aggressively under your
It's a great tool.
chiefdom?
It's a great tool, but as I said, it's one tool among many. I look at the education, prevention, and intervention as just as big a piece of that. But from a suppression standpoint, it's certainly it's something that's been successful in many, many other places.
Okay, we'll be continuing our conversation with the chief, but first, these messages. Stay with us.
Phil Trainees mixes California style with continental cuisine that includes fresh seafood from around the world. Since Phil is the chef, the menu has a wide variety of pastas, salads, soups, and appetizers that feature his unique personal touch. And the Italian-American signature dishes are simply beyond delicious. You never know who you're going to run into at Trainees, from the famous sports legends on the Wall of Fame to local celebrities having a drink at the bar. For the best fine dining experience, visit Phil Trainees.
At Performance Plus Tire, you'll find we carry Toyo tires. For over 50 years, Toyo has been a world leader in the development of high-quality tires. Optimum performance, safety, and a comfortable ride. That's what makes Toyo tires great. And now come into Performance Plus Tire for a great deal on these Toyo tires. Proxys ST, Open Country AT, and Proxys 4. Toyo tires, driven to perform. Come in today and we'll install new Toyo tires on your vehicle while you wait. Performance Plus Tire on Cherry Avenue, 1 mile north of the 405 in Long Beach.
When I was a boy growing up in Italy, I had a dream to own my own store. I came to the United States and I worked hard as a tailor. Hi, I'm Umberto. I've been in Long Beach since 1960, carrying the finest quality men's clothing. Italy's a long way away, but styles are just around the corner. Umberto, 2141 Bellflower, Long Beach.
People need a hero. They need something they can believe in. That's where Dog the Water Copper comes in.
Oh, no!
All right, you little trail sniffer. I've been watching you take a shower for the past 40 minutes. Think of all that water you're wasting.
Well, I mean, that's really weird, dog. I'm totally naked right now.